Hey guys, listen up.
This is the SEC Insider Hit, powered by Miss Kelly Furniture, Mississippi's number one sleep store.
Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone, brought to you by the Purple Mattress from any of the Miss Kelly sleep stores in the great state of Mississippi, or Miss Kelly Furniture in Pearl. Also, if you're looking to upgrade the bar stools, sectional sofa recliners, you can do that all at Miss Kelly Furniture. Number one furniture store in the Southeast, along with the Miss Kelly sleep stores. This is ESPN 1059 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We are the Out of Bounds Show. And we welcome in, for the first time, the new Southern Miss baseball coach. He is Christian Ostrander. Coach Oz, welcome to the show. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, Bo. Appreciate you having me today.
Well, Coach Oz is on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, and we appreciate your time. Now, help me out here. You went to Delta State. Did you play for both Coach Ferris and Marchand?
No, I just played for Coach Marchand. Coach Ferris was retired, by the time I got there. So Coach Marchand was my head coach, and Coach Kennison was the assistant.
Okay. Do you run your practices like Coach Kennison did when he became the head coach?
Well, I hope I do a little bit because I tell you what, man, he did it well for many, many years.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, all right, so where did you grow up?
I grew up in Texas. Most of my younger years were in Texas. My dad did get transferred up to upstate New York during my ninth grade year of high school, and I actually graduated high school in New York, but during my senior year up there, my dad got transferred back to Texas. So, yeah, I just had a little sabbatical up there, up north, and but most of my time has been in Texas.
Where in New York?
Upstate, Syracuse, the suburb of Syracuse, Liverpool, New York.
Okay. Basketball country. Jim Boeheim, man.
Oh, it was. Big Orange, yeah. There was that was back in the Ronnie Cycli, Sherman Douglas, Derek Coleman era, mid to late 80s.
Yeah, I went to that Final Four in '87 in New Orleans with Boeheim.
Yep.
And Sherman Douglas was one of my favorite point guards ever, and Cycli was on that team too. Was that a culture shock for a Texas guy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get up there, all I have is, boots and Wranglers, and you just kind of get thrusted into it. And, that was kind of the Southern kid that came up there, and they all called me Tex and all that stuff. So it was interesting, but it all worked out.
Okay, so you come back to Texas as a senior. Was Kennison the lead dog on your recruiting? Who recruited you, and how did you end up in Cleveland? I mean, I know it's a storied program; they've won for decades, but how did you end up at Delta State, Coach?
It's a lot more complicated than that. So before I went to Delta State, my first 2 years, I was at Mississippi Delta Community College. Yeah. So it's and that story, I'll give you the real short version. Coach Terry Thompson, he was the head coach there at that time, and this is probably 1991. We're trying to figure things out, making whatever. I knew my dad and my family were going to be back in Texas, back south. I had grandparents in Monroe, Louisiana area. And so we're just trying to get somewhere, back down here. Didn't know much about junior colleges, but had a scout up in New York with the Chicago Cubs named Lou Kane that was following me pretty good as a player, I guess. And he knew my intentions, getting back down south. And he actually had a connection with Coach Thompson from their minor league days and made a phone call. I get a phone call. They send me newspaper clippings, in the mail, and there you go. I ended up saying, yeah, I'll do that. And I never saw Morehead, Mississippi before. And so you can imagine the culture shock there.
That is awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you do 2 years of JUCO at Mississippi Delta, and then, of course, you're just right there. You get noticed by the Delta State staff. Was that an easy, natural transition since you'd already been in the Delta for a couple of years?
Well, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. That time there in Mississippi Delta took me about 3 months to get acclimated to life in that kind of area. But met my wife there. She was a cheerleader at Mississippi Delta. Ended up meeting her. She's a Delta girl. So everything just started fitting right. And at that time, back in the early 90s or early to mid 90s, college baseballs looked different a little bit.
Sure.
And I just wanted to go a place where I can play and win. And Delta State seemed like it checked all those boxes. And so, yeah, there you go. I mean, that's how it all kind of happened. I wouldn't be where I'm at today, without that route. There's no doubt in my mind.
Isn't that program amazing? All the people that have come out of there under Coach Ferris and Marchant and Coach Kennison in whatever walk of life. We were a part of the Delta State Boo Ferris Invitational Golf Tournament last year at Lake Caroline and worked with several of your former teammates. And, man, that crew, that is a tight bond and a tight fraternity, Coach Oz.
It is. I mean, I had one of my teammates popped in the office yesterday, man, at lunch, Mark Taylor. He was our shortstop back in those days at Delta State. And we just all, we're still in touch. We have great group texts with pretty much the entire team from like 95, 96. And
okay.
Just real special, I mean, it is. And there's, and it wasn't by accident. I mean, it was created that way. Coach Ferris is the one that created that culture there. And, just family of, relationships. And I think success follows that. So
absolutely.
That's the way I look at it.
So Casey Myrick, and these guys were a little after you, I think. Casey Myrick and John Polis called us to be a part of the Boo Ferris Invitational last year. And it was awesome to meet all those guys. I got to tell you, can I tell you my Boo Ferris story, Coach?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right. So years ago, I write this article and I tie Boo Ferris and the Boston Red Sox together with Jonathan Papelbon. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because they both played there in pitchers, right? And from Mississippi State. And I didn't think anything about it. My phone rings one day and it's Coach Ferris. It was like God called me. Okay. And I'm like, hey, he went, Bo, this is Coach Boo Ferris. I read the article. Thank you so much for doing that. Do you think there's any way you could send me some more copies? I was like, I wanted to tell him I'd walk him to Cleveland, Mississippi. And so he said, can you get it signed by Papelbon? I said, absolutely. The cover. And so we did all that. And that was kind of my first, I'd been around him a little bit, but he didn't know who the heck I was. So that was my first phone call and eventual kind of meeting with him, which was really cool for me.
No, that man, it was unbelievable. Person, human being, character, everything. And, he's helped me so much in my career in multiple ways, and stuff. And I remember when I first got to Delta State that fall that Coach Ferris took me and another player or two, invited me over. He said, want to go to his house. And so we said, yes, sir, we're going to do it. He took us in there. It was like a little Cooperstown. And, and stuff. And his wife, Miss Miriam, she makes cake and gives you cake and milk. I mean, it was like Rockwell stuff, it was unbelievable. And, but just big influence on my life. A lot of the values and stuff that I feel like I have instilled in me was, direct result from Delta State and those men that led those programs.
No doubt. I read the book on Teddy Ballgame and Dom DiMaggio and Johnny Pesky in that group. And in that book, Ted Williams said that if Boo Ferris doesn't hurt his arm, that the Boston Red Sox win at least two more World Series. I think that's a pretty big compliment, don't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, all things that you heard about it was that he's a pretty good one. So real quick, in 1998 or 99, I was coaching at Delta State then, young coach, and we go on and play at Florida Southern. Coach Ferris goes on a trip with us. And on the way, we leave a couple of days early. On the way to Lakeland, Florida, we take a detour. Coach Ferris stands up and tells the bus, guys, we're going to go take a little detour here and stop, and I'm going to go see one of my old friends. We pull up to the Ted Williams Hitters Museum.
Unreal. And
we all go in. It's closed. They open it up, and Ted Williams is there, and he's holding court with us. And it's unbelievable, And I mean, I was, 26 years old, 27 years old, and I'm like in awe, And our players got to get some advice from Ted Williams himself before his passing, and I think in '99 or whenever that was. But yeah, it was remarkable.
God, that's goosebumps right there. We're visiting with Christian Ostrander, Coach Oz, head baseball coach for Southern Miss. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. They're 3-1, getting their season started and underway. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Tell me, so you've been a head coach. You had an unbelievable run at Jones Junior College, and all y'all did was win and win big and win in the postseason. So this is nothing new to you, but what was the biggest part of the transition for you as Scott Berry retired and you went from pitching coach to head coach?
I think the biggest transition is just the the part that's kind of off the field. The things that's so important and unique. Especially about our program. There's the integration of the program with the community and just being available and being there and doing things and our players and stuff and the community here in Hattiesburg and I embraced that. I was excited about that. It fits my personality, I think, and so I was excited to attack that and really tried to attack it full steam ahead and really the only other thing that's that was takes up a lot of your time these days is the NIL factor.
Sure.
Educating folks, educating our great fan base and people on the why and the how for us with NIL.
Yeah, I know that's a whole different animal. So when you were under Lane Burroughs for several years before coming back to the state of Mississippi and joining Coach Berry's staff, do I have that right?
Well, 1 year. I spent 1 year. I was at Louisiana Tech 2 years.
Okay.
And the first year I was there in 16, that was with Greg Goff. And then Lane got that job when Greg left for Alabama, and I decided to stay. And Lane asked me wanted me to stay, and they made me as associate head coach, whatever, for that 1 year in 17 before I came here.
Got it. Okay. I got to know Lane when he was under Cohen at Mississippi State. Okay.
Yeah.
Coach Oz on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. How do you look? So it's, like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to know everything about your club for a while. I mean, do you take it in like 15-game increments? How do you break down the season, Coach?
Well, obviously one at a time, but when you're looking at the scope of it, you try to, before you start your conference weekend, before weekend 5 gets here, you hope you have a pretty good feel, of what pieces of the puzzle go where, what pitchers, are your, short relief, long relief closers, who can handle, the fire. And then, position player wise, by then you hopefully, surely, have some rhythm, some guys that, not just 9 guys, hopefully it's more than 9 that you can use that, you know how to fit them in a game to help you win that game, whether it's the start of the game, middle of the game, back part of the game, pinch hitting, defensive replacements, just try to get that rhythm going to where you know how to use them. I think one of the most important things we do as coaches is put guys in the right positions to be successful. And you got to it takes some time to see that, in my opinion.
Sure. You've got some Madison Ridgeland Academy flavor on your mound to start it off in Nico. Tell me about him. How excited are you about this year with him?
Oh man, Nico, I love his growth since he got here. He was a true freshman on a really good pitching staff in 2022, and kind of got to see what it looks like. Didn't get a ton of reps, because of the depth of that staff, but he learned, and then last year he took another step forward on another good staff, and a good team, and pitched, I don't know how many innings it was, like 75, 80, something like that, and starting and relieving. And so this was his turn, man. This is his year to kind of be that dude. And he wants it. He's embracing it, and I'm all for it. And Nico's got some really good stuff. And as long as he's pounding that zone, he's going to give us a chance.
Yeah, he's a talented young man. How do you balance, you were the pitching coach. You were highly sought after. You stayed at Southern Miss. Coach Berry again retires. You're now the head coach. How do you balance overseeing the pitching staff, but also you're the head coach, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the tricky part, but it's one that I'm I can't get away from it. Pitching, I think, is what's helped get me here, and I love it. And I feel like I'm not egotistical and think I'm the only one that can do it, but I just, I feel like it's what I do well and stuff. So I got a great assistant helping me, Keller Bradford. He's been with, this is his third year. He does so much of the organizational stuff and kind of tells me when we're on the mound, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with my guys when they're on the mound, throwing the pins and so forth. And I'm going to call the pitches. I want to be the voice still and stuff. And so it takes a lot of time, but at the same time, I want to be as around as I can, much as I can with the offensive side and defensive. So just a lot of structuring of the timing of when we're doing the pitching stuff might, be pre or post practice or whatever. And so that way I can try to be available for everything as much as I can.
Coach Oz, Southern Miss head baseball coach. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. All right, tell me about Billy Oldham and what he brings to your staff and your roster and team.
Yeah, we call him the King of the North. Billy's got long, pretty hair that he's proud of, and it's Billy's awesome, man. He is a soft-spoken young man, unbelievable human being. That a couple summers ago, we get hammered with the draft, with our pitching staff, and we lost a kid to a transfer portal, and so we were kind of all right, had to figure it out. And his name came up. I started digging. D3 kid from up north in Connecticut. Dig, communicate, bam, end up getting him here, and it was a great choice, great asset to bring on. He had a great year for us last year, and he's poised to have another great year for us this year. He's just a pitcher, man. That dude can pitch. He can just, he's not going to wow you. It might be up to 92, but he's not going to just overpower you, but he's going to pitch, and he's going to frustrate you. And I've seen that over and over again. So glad he's here.
He's got dude qualities, I think.
He's got dude qualities. He believes it. He isn't scared, and I know what I'm going to get. And that's one of the best things you can have as a pitching coach is when you say, I know what I'm going to get from this guy when he gets out there.
Right.
That's all you can ask for, and stuff. So he definitely does that well.
Christian Ostrander on the Out of Bounds show, Coach Oz. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Southern Miss baseball off and running. They're 3-1. Okay, who all's in the? I mean, I see who pitched last weekend. Tell me, and like you said, this is going to take a few weekends for maybe a lot of things to settle, both mid-relief and closer. But tell me who's competing and tell me what you're looking for as you go into the second weekend, Coach.
Well, from the pitching standpoint, I'm assuming, is that what you're asking?
Yes, from the pitching on the mound.
Yeah, well, I mean, so we have multiple options. We're starting a guy tonight. We play at University of New Orleans tonight. And Chandler Best will get the start. So that's going to be 5 different starters your first 5 games. And there's probably another one that I could, Colby Allen, but he's just so valuable to me of being that bridge guy. He came in last Friday behind Nico and finished the game and threw an inning against Air Force the other night, but he could start too. So I feel like I got several options there between Nico, Billy, Carl Sibley threw last Sunday. Didn't have his best day, but he threw. He pitched that game, and then Will Armistead, man. I mean, that dude, he's a good one. He's a starter. Whether it's going to be on the weekend, whether it's going to be on Tuesdays, to be determined. And same thing with Chandler. So I feel good about that. We have options on that front end, and on the back end, I think we have just as many options, and that's why I'm excited about this staff. I think you got guys that can get you out of the gate and manage the game, but I think we got some monsters on the back end that's got some stuff and can, do a good job of closing that gap. J.B. Middleton from Benton Academy is up to 97, 98 the other day. I mean, It's electric. Landon Payne closed out against Air Force Monday night. Probably going to touch some 95s, with the fastball, but got hard sliders, cutters. And he just kind of has that intensity and demeanor. And then we've got a true freshman, McCarty English from Ocean Springs. I mean, he's been up to 95, 96 too, and strike thrower. So you got stuff. You got, and then we got some lefties that are going to be, Jake Cook from Madison Central. He's up to 94 the other night from the left side. So you got some power in there and stuff. So pretty excited to watch it all unfold and just see who says, hey, this is where you need to put me.
I love it. Coach Oz on the Out of Bounds Show. Hey, thanks for giving us some time on game day. We hope that we catch up with you again soon. So I have to tell you this. Our daughters are sorority sisters at Mississippi State. And
Okay.
I told my daughter yesterday that I was having you on the show, and she went, I'll have to tell Allie. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Congratulations on everything. I know you're in the heat of the battle and locked in, but hopefully we can grab you again in a few weeks. We appreciate it, Christian.
All right, Bo. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Coach Oz on the Out of Bounds Show. Southern Miss baseball playing UNO tonight. They played 4 games. We mentioned Air Force traveled down to Hattiesburg after playing 3 in Starkville, and Southern Miss won that game. They're 3-1. And the party continues in Hattiesburg and Starkville and Oxford on this 56-game gauntlet. And Southern Miss coming off a big year, great year, successful year, and Ole Miss and Mississippi State hoping to bounce back. We appreciate Christian Ostrander coming by and hanging out with us. Jason? You know, I never threw 96, Jason. I don't know if you're surprised at that. Even though I could throw left and right-handed, I think if maybe you added up a pitch and another pitch, I could get to 2 pitches.
How much eligibility do you have? You got 4 years.
Surely
don't
I
you?
got at least like 2.5 years.
Because you didn't play in.
Depends on the NIL money, though. I'm not coming back out unless they throw down the bread.
And see, then you got to deal with the NCAA, and you got to see if you're eligible this year.
Anybody can get eligible. This is the Southeast. It's the Sun Belt. So,
well,
I can't do much more, but I can at least write my name. That means I'm eligible.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, come on, why not? You should get $20,000 to throw 3 innings. You know?
I like that. I could probably
$10,000 an inning.
Start off from the left side, and then maybe a couple batters in, I go from the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the way you're thinking.
I always had more control from the left, threw harder from the right.
Yeah, and see, I was just always throwing like a kid who's never thrown a baseball before. So I struck out in T-ball.
You didn't.
I did. That was the first story that I told on the show whenever I was hired.
Was it really?
Was that I struck out in T-ball.
Because you hit the teeth maybe underneath too many times?
No, they give you like 6 strikes. And eventually they just told me to go to first.
I love it.
Yeah, so you hit the tee, you swing on top.
You were the special kid.
Well, whoa, hey. Whoa.
But you still got the, what are those little drinks you give your kids in the little.
Capri Suns?
Yeah, Capri
man.
Suns.
Yeah, I was all about the Capri Suns, but I was spinning all the way around. That was my problem. I wasn't planting my feet. I was just holding the bat out.
Oh, you didn't have the base right.
I was doing a 360.
You weren't shifting.
No hit movement whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't hit off your front foot like Rafael Palmeiro.
I did not, but came close.
Okay.
The special kid. Come on. Man.
Interesting. Hey, we'll just put him on first. Go ahead and give him a Capri Sun and a pack of Skittles.
One of those tickets for a burger that you can go to the concession stand after.
Yeah. At least they cooked those on the grill. I mean, I don't know where the meat came from. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're brought to you by the amazing Purple Mattress from any of the Muskelly sleep stores. I've been sleeping on one for 3 years. I love it. I slept on one last night. Visit any of the Muskelly sleep stores if you're looking to upgrade your mattress. Back in a sec.